I'm sorry, Shinyu. I didn't think Moon would die. I cried so badly that night, and I couldn't bear it. Only today does he remember the little bits and pieces of my grievance with Moon. But nothing can be done, he whispered to me. In fact, after taking the bowl, I went back half a month later. I thought you could survive. To protect your mother and daughter, I even locked the iron door to death, but the zombie came in. He tried to grab my hand, but looking down, he saw the wound in the heart of my palm. She shook herself for a moment, holding onto the counter to steady herself. Was it painful when Moon was gone? I'm sorry for you, she asked in a choked voice. I don't understand why love always comes late. When Moon was first sick, the night she took away Chui Wanwan, I can pretend to be deaf and admit it, but now, I had no illusions about her anymore, only hatred. If his mother-in-law hadn't died in agony, he wouldn't have turned into a monster. I bit my teeth, but he took my shoulder. Shinju, don't look at me like that. I'm going crazy. You can beat me and scold me. Moon is bleeding all over the ground. I didn't even find his body. Do you think I wasn't sad? Qin Yi's eyes were scarlet, but I slipped the pen into his hand and took a step back. Qin Yi and Chui Wanwan were still waiting for you. In front of everyone, Qin Yi finally signed the divorce agreement and the chief announced that we were officially divorced. People who supported the marriage of Chui Wanwan and Qin Yi cheered underneath. Qin Yi and I both looked impassive. He even stood closer to me, which was ridiculous. After many years of marriage, I stood in such close proximity with him for the first time except on the wedding day. Qin Yi was cold. Even when he chased me, he bought flowers, ate, and watched a movie set. I couldn't even say a good word. I'd always thought he was silent until the doomsday erupted. Every night, I could hear her next door talking to Chui Wanwan, sweet words of love after sweet words. I took a few steps aside. Qin Yi reached up and pulled at the 2 wedding rings on my finger. Lost the bright canoe. I looked down at her and held out my hand. I was still carrying our wedding ring. Didn't it make Qi Wanwan sad? Qin Yi Feng looked up, as if I had said something cruel and hurtful. He involuntarily looked at my ring. It was empty. The ring was there. His voice was hoarse and careful. I raised my lips and had long since lost it. On the first day since Chui Wanwan came next door, I threw the ring down the drain. The wedding ring has accompanied my marriage. I married, had children, and breastfed. I went from a teenage girl to a child mother. When I was pregnant, I was swollen and my fingers were thick enough to turn into radish. I couldn't bear the pain and wouldn't pick it. But that day I poked myself with a knife sheath and a scissor. One hand was bloody, only took off a ring that didn't fit, a wedding ring that should have been discarded, and a marriage that didn't produce results. I should have gone to the grave. I had already been relieved, but Qin Yi still held on, as if he had learned how to love someone today. Why should you lose without my permission? The chief saw it, spoke up, and persuaded him to divorce. Don't take the wedding ring. Chui Chui is still at home waiting for you. Qin held the wedding rings in the hands of the defeated rooster. He was silent for a long time before handing them to me. I waved my hand and dropped them far away outside the base wall, causing a zombie to growl. That night, I went back to my shack in the slum. I put my arm around Moon and slept for the first good night since the end of the world. When I woke up, Chui Wanwan led several strong men standing in front of my door. Shinyu, you're going to lose face. You've just divorced Qin Yi, and you've hooked up with Jichang again. Are you not going to survive without men? There are so many naked men in the base, and if you want to burn yourself, you should go to them. He swore at me. I paused for a moment to figure out. I had never seen an uprising. Chui's suspicious eyes rested on the closed door behind me. Qin Yi, are you inside? I'll tell you, I'm pregnant with your child. If you can't get involved with your ex-wife again, I immediately hit her, threatening her words, but there was silence behind the door. Qin Yi, I'll count 3 more times. If you don't come out again, I'm not going to be polite. There were 1,231 silences. Chui Wanwan's fine features twisted. His face was red with anger. I stood by the door and would not back down. He gave a look. The soldiers pulled up their sleeves and rushed up to smash the door. My heart sank. Moon is still inside. He doesn't look like a normal human now. If he's seen, he'll be beaten to death. I grab the door with all my strength, but Chui Wenwen thinks I'm guilty. She points at me with a cold smile and hits the men, raining sandy fist on me. I bit my teeth and wouldn't let go. I just felt my abdominal cavity pounding. 2 fists were as bad as 4 hands. I was punched with blood on my head and thrown aside. The door opened, and there was no one inside. The house in the slums had no windows. Chui Wenwen knew that Chini wasn't there for me, but he didn't apologize. Oh, I hit the wrong person. It's okay. After all, you deserve to rob your wife of a man. You won't be in your turn for the rest of your life. And you don't urinate to see what you are like. A group of people marched away. Chui Wenwen hurried to find Chini. I crawled slowly from the floor into the room and closed the broken door. Only then did I dare to shout. Joy peeked out of the wardrobe, and her little purple face smiled at me. I held her in my arms, muttering to myself, wait, my mother will take you away in a minute. After that day, Chini never appeared, not even Chui Wenwen, who was always very proud. Their villa was closed behind closed doors. There was a dead silence. There was gossip about everything in the base, but I knew that Chui Wenwen was afraid to come out because Chini couldn't hide it. Outside the base, I had watched the timing of the zombie mutations. On the day of the divorce, Chini's body temperature was unusually high. He's already in the phase of mutation, and by now, he's probably a zombie. I spread the word about Chui Wenwen's pregnancy inside the base and urged several search and rescue team members to bring presents to congratulate the couple. Everyone praised me for being open-minded. I stroked the still unfinished wounds and followed them for a good show. When Chui Wenwen opened the door, her face changed to look ugly like soy sauce. The crowd swarmed and occupied the living room for an instant, placing the brought meat and fruit on the table. Someone asked about Chini. Chui smiled and didn't speak at night, but an inhuman growl came from the room upstairs. What's the sound? It sounds like a zombie. I hesitated to say something. The search and rescue crews were uneasy, and carrying baseball bats, they walked upstairs. Chui couldn't stop following me. Well, he gave me a hard look. Then he blocked the door. There was no zombie, just the beast my husband had captured yesterday. Let the fire go down. I'll cut you some fruit. He looked unnatural. The people were suspicious. Guarding her behind them, they slowly opened the door, and a hideous-looking zombie leapt out. The songwriters exclaimed, unconsciously letting go of their baseball bats. The zombie was clearly Chini, but now he's ghost-faced and smells of corruption, with a rotting hole in his neck and his head teetering on his neck. He's lost his mind and he's flying them all over. His teeth are still bloody and fleshy. I pick up the baseball bat and hit him in the head. The zombie pauses, his eyes red, and the team reacts. Holding Chui Wenwen behind him, he hit Chini with sticks. Chui was shocked and sad, and she was crying with tears on her face. I looked down at him. There was already a pool of yellowish water stains underneath him. Chini, the zombie, was finally caught. Chui Wenwen was probably in love with her. Even she became a zombie and would hide him for days, but a zombie could not stay on a human base. According to traditional rules, a zombie should be killed on the spot, but no one in the search and rescue team could do anything about it. Chui asked for the whole base, and no one wanted to risk keeping Chini. The day Chini was dumped from the base, Chui did not show up. For the next few days, he kept himself in the villa and refused to see anyone, but there were rules in the base. Chini was no longer there, and Chui Wenwen was not giving birth, so she could not live in the villa. When the leader went to evict the men, Chui opened the door with a gaunt face, and her stomach, which had appeared slightly pregnant, collapsed. She lost a lot of weight. I was trying to take revenge on her, but before I could do anything, he had already made himself look like he was now. I thought he loved Chini and would have some pity for the baby. But as soon as Chini left the base, he turned around and gave birth to himself and put on a new search and rescue team captain. but the man had a wife. He cursed me for cheating, but repeatedly acted as a third person. I had seen his fate clearly, and Moon's appearance became more and more unusual. One night, I left the base with Moon and we returned to our home where the zombies had not yet broken out. We hadn't fled to Building 4 yet, it was as warm as ever. I found all the photos of Chinyi's clothes and set a fire to a fire. There were no signs of strangeness in the world ever since. He would always remain a dead man with no name. A year later, a passing escapee told me that zombies had evolved and that they had a hierarchy. The most advanced of the zombies had the intelligence of a human child, could recognize human faces, was inappropriately shaped, and was flexible.